What's going on everyone, it's Tenha here. Welcome back to another video of Genshin Impact. In the previous Tighnari first impression video, we have seen that he does not provide a good off-field dendro application, and because we have seen him doing about 100k damage on field per second with Tighnari DPS team, it only makes sense that he is the best with Electro to utilize Quicken State to spam spread reaction. So, in this video, we are going to crown his auto attack and elemental burst to see his full potential and determine whether or not is he worth the investment. We will also R5 his weapon and unleash his Constellation to see his maximum potential as well. Just in case if you have no knowledge of Tighnari and dendro reaction by any chance, make sure you click on the top right to learn basic information about them. First, we can see that his Wrath Arrow multiplier is 130.8% with 57.9% on his Cluster Bloom Arrow at level 6. When you crown him, you'll be at 157% Wrath Arrow and 69.5% on his Cluster Bloom Arrow. This may seem to be underwhelming, but we always have to remember that after using his elemental skill, we can spam his aim shot 3 times, which means the difference is going to be tripled. Therefore, when you crown his auto attack, your burst damage from 3 aim shots will be total of 217.8%, which is about 20% damage increase overall. His elemental skill will just do more damage on hit, so I will just show you the multiplier instead of actually leveling it. His elemental skill multiplier is 209.44% at level 6 and 269.28% when it is crowned. It is about 30% damage increase, and I do not think it is worth. Maybe later in the future, it would be nice for Genshin to add more perks to leveling skills like this. For example, extending the duration of the skills and such. His Elemental Burst skill, you can see that his damage increases about 30% overall, and you might think, oh, I should prioritize Tighnari's burst skill over his auto attack. However, you also have to keep that in mind that Quicken State provides additive damage. So if you were to invest into Tighnari, auto attack and elemental burst skill are equally important as you would be using him in rotation. Now, do you remember the damage test that we did in the previous video to find out what build would be better on him? We're going to do the same thing to find out his max potential damage on Masanori.
What's one more? Stabilize!
Teamwork is dreamwork! No turning back!
I hear everything! Enshroud!
To be honest, even with all the buffs, I couldn't see a huge damage difference. From the result, we can conclude 2 things. 1. Tighnari doesn't require huge investment, and 2. Because Quicken gives additive damage instead of percentage increase, Tighnari as an on-field dendro DPS doesn't seem to be so great at the moment. I got a lot of comment on my video from you guys that you love dendro reactions so much. Keep that in mind that we are right now in the honeymoon phase with dendro, so that any new mechanism in Genshin Impact will be very appealing. It goes the same for me too, because I get excited when I see a new working team as well. I hear from many people that Tighnari might be good in the future, but I think this is a very dangerous assumption when he's going to be added to the permanent banner. However, when you have finite amount of resource to invest into characters, you might want to reconsider. Tighnari does not provide off-field dendro application, which is why I suggested in the beginning of the video that he needs to be built as a DPS, built with EM, dendro damage bonus, and crit. This means that the performance of your Tighnari will be heavily dependent on your weapons, artifacts, and constellations. I'm already struggling to farm for dendro set in live server, and unless you're super lucky, you will probably be stuck in a new domain for a couple of months. However, the reason why I consider Tighnari one of the better character among the permabanner characters is because his kit is very well made. Although getting more constellations will make him better at what he does in terms of damage, we can see that he's not really lacking in anything. His elemental burst costs 40 energy, so he always has his Q up when you rotate back to him even without giving him much energy recharge. Whether or not you have good weapons or artifacts, he's still going to be contributing in your team. He's going to help use some of the characters that you don't currently use right now in Spear Abyss, and I think this is one of the biggest value out of Tighnari. When we're talking about additive damage, we cannot take out Shinha and Yunjin out of the conversation. Although the way we get extra damage out of Quicken is different, I always had a problem with Shinha and Yunjin, how they only buff certain number of hits in effect. However, you can still fairly compare it with Quicken since it takes time to trigger the reaction again due to ICD.
Inazuma shines eternal.
For 1,000-year pain!
The 3 Dendro units that we have right now doesn't seem to work very well. Tighnari has really fast Dendro application, but in a short period of time, and he's single target. However, Cole and MC has Dendro AoE, but their Dendro application is not fast enough to a point where we can make a perfect combinations like National Team. So, my final verdict on Tighnari is that you should not pull for him unless you want to be the beta tester for Dendro reactions. Tighnari is a very fun character indeed, and if you're a new player that's watching this video, don't be disappointed. The only reason why I discourage others from pulling for him right now is that he is going to be added to the permanent banner, plus their electro characters are probably well built. In the damage showcase segment in this video, we saw that Tighnari's damage is still not outstanding as he's underinvested compared to my Yaemiko. Because of the way his weapon is designed and how the only way to do crit is through spread, it is evident that Genshin intended us to utilize Quicken more than Bloom reactions with Tighnari. So I first R5'd his weapon to see if it was worth to do or not. In terms of C0 Tighnari, I don't know if anyone is willing to R5 a weapon without C6 character, but we didn't see a huge damage difference again, so I am going to go ahead and unlock his Constellation. His C1 gives 15% crit for his aim shot, so that this gives more room for us to breathe when it comes to artifact farming. Nothing game breaking, but it is a nice one, something that is relevant to his skill. Let's move on to C2. His C2 gives 20% Dendro bonus to Tighnari when there are opponents on his E skill. This along with R5 weapon would allow you to build him with attack percentage goblet instead of Dendro goblet. Here is his damage improvement compared to C0. And now, this is the damage when you're using attack percentage goblet. As we can see, the damage difference is very minimal. His C3 gives extra level for his Q, and this is the multiplier difference.
Let's nip that in the bud.
Decree.
C4, when his Q is used, Tighnari buffs all party members' elemental mastery by 60, and if his Q skill triggers any Dendro reactions, it will further buff EM by extra 60. Let's take a look at the effect of this Constellation quickly.
Emerge. Right here.
Enshroud.
I'm getting sick.
I'll uproot you.
C5 gives extra level for his E, and here's the multiplier difference. And here is C6. This is very important, and this is what makes Tighnari really great. This Constellation decreases Wrath Arrow charging time by 0.9 seconds, which almost felt like I was using C6 Ganyu. After using his E, he can just spam his aim shot without waiting, which makes his rotation even faster. His extra cluster bloom arrow does 150% of Tighnari's attack, and the damage is pretty significant, as his E and 3 charge shots can do almost 300k damage instantly. Although Tighnari is a single target character, I would like to say that the difficulty to understand and utilize Quicken reaction is very low. I am very satisfied with his C6 performance, and I'm very excited to lose 50-50 to Tighnari in the future. It sounds weird, right? After all the damage testing, I noticed that he's a well-built character. Good skill kits and relevant constellations made me feel happy. Compared to some weird passives like Deluxe passive and irrelevant constellations like Xiao's C4, I'm going to say that Tighnari is actually good at C6. I know that a lot of you guys will say no shit, but there are some weird C6 characters. Trust me. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and turn on the alert button so that you don't miss out on the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.